Hi, I'm Ian Kellett. Today we're going to explore a streamside ecosystem. First, we'll talk with the state park ranger. I'm here at Castlewood Canyon State Park with Amy Duggins. Amy, how is this canyon formed?
Well, Ian, if you look behind you at the stream, that's Cherry Creek, and it was actually that little creek that made the canyon. Right now, it doesn't look like any sort of creek that could make a canyon this big. But probably thousands of years ago, near the end of the last ice age, there was a lot of snow coming down from the mountains and melting as it got warmer, and the stream was probably a lot stronger and flowed more quickly then, and it found weak places in the rock. And eventually, over thousands of years, that stream cut through the rock and made this canyon here.
Amy, what is the streamside ecosystem?
Well, Ian, the ecosystem that is on the sides of the streams is called a riparian ecosystem. And a riparian ecosystem is made up of all the animals and plants and rocks and soil and everything that lives along the sides of the stream. And there are a lot of plants like the willows that you see that are along the side of the stream. Very flexible trees. They provide a lot of homes for wildlife, nesting places for birds. A lot of animals can eat them too. And then there's a lot of animals that live in a riparian ecosystem. A lot of animals come to visit it, like raccoons that fish in the stream or foxes that come to get a drink. And it also refers to all the animals that live in the stream itself. Everything from the tiny little aquatic insects that live under the rocks, to fish, to crawdads, and the plants that live there too, like the algae and moss.
Can you tell me about the riparian food web?
Well, Ian, there are different kinds of food webs in a riparian ecosystem. And a food web just refers to how all the different animals and plants depend on each other for survival. Well, let's start with a food web inside the stream itself. If you look in the stream, there are plants growing there that can take the energy from the sun and make it into food. Some of the green mosses that you see growing on the rocks, or sometimes if you pick those rocks up and feel them, they'll feel slimy. And that's a one-celled plant called algae that grows on the rocks and can also take the sun's light and make it into energy. All sorts of little creatures eat that moss and algae. If you pick up a rock in the stream and look underneath it, you'll see tiny little aquatic insects crawling around, and they're very small. But if you look closely, you can see them. They're in turn eaten by small minnows, and those can be eaten by larger fish, and the fish can be eaten by all sorts of things, people, raccoons, birds. Then, eventually, you need something to break down the animals and plants in the streams that have died, and that's where the decomposers come in. And that can be animals like crawdads, who are scavengers. They go around on the bottom of the stream and eat the dead stuff, or very small things like bacteria that help break it down. Now, if you go to the food web on the outside of the stream in a riparian ecosystem, it's a bit more complicated. You still have plants that take the energy from the sun, and then you have animals that eat the plants, and then you have animals that eat the animals, and you still have decomposers that break it down. But since there's so many different kinds of plants and animals, you can get all sorts of different kinds of food webs going on there.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how clean is this water?
Well, Ian, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the cleanest, I'm just guessing here, but I'd say that Cherry Creek right here in the park is probably about a 4. It's pretty clean. It does get a little bit dirty from some of the cows and ranches upstream, but one of the ways to tell how clean a stream is to look for those aquatic insects that we were talking about before that live on the bottoms of rocks. In a clean, healthy stream, it will support lots of different kinds of those aquatic insects. Whereas in a dirty stream, there may be a lot of aquatic insects, but it'll just be 1 or 2 kinds. You won't have the variety that you do in a healthy stream.
Thanks, Amy. Why don't we go and look for some of the things that we've been talking about?
That sounds great, Ian. Let's go.